Hi, I'm Kat. I play Sims and I built a blue tiny house in San Sequoia in The Sims 4. So this is the world that comes with growing together, but because I was doing a tiny house, I didn't really want to try and do a family home. So I just stuck to a small house. I tried to make it sort of fit with the surrounding area, so it's got like a metal roof. I didn't quite get the colour scheme down at first. It takes us a really long time to fix the outside, and I couldn't quite decide whether I wanted a foundation, so I put it up with some stairs a couple times during the process. I brought it down again. I gave it like a little wooden foundation, but I didn't really like it, and I put this base game siding on, and at first I used a high school years brick on the little bump out section, but I changed that again later as well. I used the Growing Together craftsman style door, which I do keep in the dark blue, and I ended up carrying that dark blue through into the interior, but for now everything's a little bit mismatched. I used parenthood windows on the front and sides, and then these Growing Together ones at the back that are really nice and big. I had a lot of space to fill around the sides of the houses, so I did put in a movie hangout tree with the lanterns in it, and I put some basic hedges around the sides of the house as well. I did a little bit of the landscaping here, but not much, and I started playing with split levels because I was at first desperate to have this house on like a couple of different levels. So I did play around with platforms at first. I sort of made a little 2 steps into the house. I sunk the main part of the house down, but I put it up outside. I didn't like the way it looked with the door hovering, so I ended up taking that out again. But for now, I did leave the main bit sunken. I was having trouble finding a platform trim that didn't sort of clip in all the walls and take up a lot of space. I ended up putting in a base game one for now, but eventually I do just sort of level off the whole thing anyway. I put a decent sized bathroom in there, and then I just used a base game wallpaper of sort of a dark blue with a trim, and I used a base game tile as well in the bathroom. I just put a base game dark blue floor down and base game tiles as well, so I started out not using too many packs, but I did end up putting more in the end. I tried another platform trim to see if I liked it, and then in the end I just sort of leveled the whole house off because I really didn't like how the split levels were working for us. I actually forgot to level off the bathroom, so that still is a little bit sunken down one level. I used the sleek bathroom kit for the toilet, businesses and hobbies for the sink, and I just used a shower tub combo from Growing Together. I stuck a towel rack above the toilet with a few different shades of blue towels above it, and I got a base game mirror which I raised up with tulle. I used a lot of those base game items in the matching dark blue shade because I liked how it looked. In the end, the colour scheme is sort of a mix of dark blue and teal. I grabbed the side table from the Grange mudroom kit for by the door, and then I just put a little bookcase on it as well. I put a sofa there briefly, but I ended up putting that next to the bed in a minute. That one's from Refined Living Room Kit, and it fit really nicely with the colour scheme. And then I put a base game mirror by the door. It's like a divider thing and it looks really pretty. And I used a Growing Together bed in a more sort of teal colour. And then I used the tiny living all-in-one sort of TV bookshelf thing in white at the end of the bed as well. I got this blue and white rug from Parenthood that I basically never used because I didn't know this swatch existed, and I just sized it down to fit the tiny space between the bed and the wall. I started trying to put in a kitchen. I used the Jungle Adventure fridge in the end, and I used some base game counters. I decided this was the perfect opportunity to use the Dream Home Decorator induction hob just on the top of the counter, so they don't have like an oven as such, just the hob top. I wasn't entirely happy about the kitchen being pushed up so close to the bedroom living area, but I sort of tried to switch it around a little bit and couldn't get anywhere with that. I grabbed a matching base game side table. I put Grange mudroom boots by the door and the usual comfy gamer book and a horse ranch lamp on there as well. And I just grabbed a little rewards event cushion to put on the sofa and rotated it with tool mod so it was lying more flat. I grabbed a divider from businesses and hobbies to put by the bedside just to separate the room off a bit. It's unfortunately a slightly different white to the windows and the trim, but I just sort of moved past it for now. I put a for rent radiator underneath the window, and then I decided on a chessboard with some little chairs. I got quite a big dining table from Horse Ranch in a nice dark blue, and then the same chairs from Base Game that I'd put on that chess table, and a Base Game rug as well in a dark blue that I don't tend to use. I was still a little bit unhappy with the kitchen layout, so I decided to move the door so that I could put the counters going around the corner, and then I could get rid of that end one and just put a corner piece on instead. I decided against giving them a kitchen sink, they can just use the bathroom one, and I put a little Base Game rug in front of the door as well. I grabbed a bit of like abstract art from Dream Home Decorator for above that side table, and then I got the decor to the Max Gallery wall for above the bed. I put in some Base Game curtains just around the bedroom area, and I used the Desert Luxe curtain rail as well. I started out with it in black, but I did change it to white to fit the windows and the paint trim on the walls. I don't know why I had it in black in the first place, it was just sort of a default, I think. I put in a couple of plants from Paranormal and Movie Hangout, and then I used that same bit of artwork in a different swatch from Dream Home Decorator. I did actually remember to put in a bin, so I just used the money one from the rewards event, and I gave them a burglar alarm and a thermostat, and then I went outside and put out a mailbox as well. I decided I was done indoors, so I went back out. I gave it a sort of gravel squared off path to the door, and then I put in the same gravel in a sort of courtyard area out by the tree. I wanted to fill the space, so I put in a huge fountain and some romantic garden benches around it. And then I decided I wanted kind of an outdoor grill or bar area, so I ended up putting in the Base Game bar that sort of matched the indoors of the house, but I did match it to the colour scheme outside in the end. I put a little half-wall enclosure around it, but I didn't close it off just so that I didn't waste any tiles, and I matched the siding to the house as well. I changed the bar to more of a white and blue colour, and then I put those same counters as indoors but in a lighter shade to match the outdoors. And then I put out a picnic table from Romantic Garden, and I gave them a little pizza oven as well because that can be used outside, and I just put some dark terrain paint around in places where I thought I needed it. And I painted my ceilings for a change. I went into debug for some landscaping to match the stuff in the general area, and then I decided I was going to be really brave and put in a pond to fill some space. I just made a sort of little almost bean shaped one, and I put the weird like leaf covered water in it, and I just put a bunch of stuff like a fountain, a log, and a load of landscaping around it with blue flowers. I tend to try and cover as many edges as I can when I make ponds, so I just used a variety of wildflowers and bushes and little flower bush type things all around. Some of them were actually the Romantic Garden ones that I never used, but most were sort of Base Game. I tried to use the little cats and dogs plant because I really like it, but it never fits anywhere, and then I just put some rocks in as well from the rewards event. Once I'd done my landscaping, I decided to finally fix that little bump out, and I changed the colour of the columns as well and got rid of the unnecessary one. And with that, I was done with this, so enjoy the screenshots. Please consider a like and subscribe.